Hi, I'm Josh Carving, and welcome to another Death Battle prediction video. But first, we have two Death Battles to go over. Actually, technically, yeah, first two. So we basically have to start with Red versus Blue, as I had missed Spider-Gwen versus Batgirl. So Red versus Blue went like basically as I thought it would. The moment they restricted the AIs to their own units, it's like, oh yeah, they're basically conceding defeat right there. If they had to, I think this is actually the first time that Death Battle has ever locked something out of a character's arsenal, specifically for the reason that it is overpowered. So that's kind of telling of the whole situation right there. The animation was good. There were a few really, really cool choreographed sections as well, specifically pretty much everything texted. And then Tucker versus Lopez was also really cool and well done. So the idea that the Reds didn't get a single kill the entire thing is kind of hilarious. Caboose was the only one who killed any of the Blues. Um, so, well, it's ultimately kind of like a more comedic fight anyway. So it doesn't matter too much. But the animation was good. I did enjoy it, even if the outcome was pretty obvious. And speaking of obvious outcomes, we then got announced Batgirl versus Spider-Gwen. Was there anyone who thought that Batgirl could win that? And I feel like the episode itself was just completely pointless from a from a uniqueness aspect. Like, it's literally just Batman versus Spider-Man again for like the fourth time now. Um, and for the most part, there was nothing that really differentiated it. It was really telling at the very end during the rundown, like the verdict, that there was a part where they just compared the two building explosion feats. And then they had like a little black box at the top that was like, oh, the Spider-Man was more in his explosion, and like Batman was further away from the epicenter of his. And it's just like, you look at the screen and you're like, it's literally just talking about Batman and Spider-Man again. There is no mention of either Gwen or Babs on screen at the moment. So it's like, it just felt really pointless. And the animation was, I'll say, a bit rough. Gwen moved fine, but Batgirl was really jittery and stiff, and it kind of like hurt a few parts of the animation. She was also really needlessly aggressive, like she was just like getting really pissed off throughout the whole fight for very little reason. It seemed a little bit out of character. And then there were just a few like strange setups with the animation that I didn't quite get. Like the moment Gwen disarmed the taser stick and like threw it upwards and it like stuck into the ceiling with the taser pointing down, I was like, oh, that's gonna come back somehow. Like she's gonna like maybe knock her up into it or something like that. It'll be neat. But then it just never came back. And like that's the golden rule of Chekhov's gun, is that when Chekhov has a loaded gun on his wall, you know it's going to fire. So it's like it just felt really strange that it just never came back up when so much focus was specifically put on it. Overall, it was okay, vaguely enjoyable. I don't know. It's probably closer to the lower half of this season. So, but then we come to Rock Lee versus Sanji. So, Naruto characters really have it rough in Death Battle. There's been, what are we? This is going to be 7 Naruto characters, and only one of them has come away from their fight alive. 2 have won, but the guy died. So, poor Naruto characters. But yeah, that should basically say what I think the result is going to be. So there's a couple big things that kind of need to be addressed regarding Rock Lee and Sanji. So There is a several times the speed of light. I think it's like 8 times the speed of light feat for One Piece characters. But it is from a movie. There's no specific reason to not include it though, so it means that Sanji has a pretty huge speed advantage. And then Sanji also is way, 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 way stronger than Rock Lee in base, and through most of the gates, which is problematic for Lee. One of the big things with the difference between Guy and Lee is that Rock Lee is on much more of a battery when it comes to the gates than Guy was. He can be on them for far less time, and it will fuck him up significantly more. Apparently, he can use the 8th gate, which was stated in Boruto. But the issue here is that Sanji is just a lot faster. So, even if you scale him to, like, Madara's Light Fang, like, for some reason, I don't know why the hell you would. I think the assumption would just be then that if you're taking 8th Gate Lee and just plopping Guy's stats directly onto him, which is, I think, faulty, then even then, you would still have Sanji outspeeding, dodging any attacks that happen, and Lee would just die. As well, Sanji does have an attack that burns organs directly, which could potentially have some impact on the length of time that Lee would be able to use the like 7th and 8th gates. But yeah, there's just not too much that Lee can pull through here, which is unfortunate because I do like Lee. He was always one of my favorite Naruto characters, and he got sidelined and shafted really hard. But yeah, I don't think anything's gonna save him here. I do notice, and I saw the preview for it, Lee's really out of character. Like, it's specifically a character trait of his that he enjoys any food, but, like, he's being an asshole. I don't know. Well, we'll see for the next one. Oh, wait, we know what the next one is already. The finale is going to be Broly versus Hulk, which has the very lovely effect of bringing the comic character amount, where fights involving Marvel or DC are half of this season, which is kind of bad. From what I know, Ben has heard the outcry regarding oversaturation of comic characters, and will hopefully be addressed next season. But we'll talk about Hulk versus Broly next time, and I will see you guys then.